Swagat hai, namaskara, and a massive welcome to all my CMA Easy students. Let's get right to it, alright? I am so pumped to be guiding you through this revision session today. We are tackling Unit 3 of Chapter 4, Price Output Determination under Different Market Forms. Now I know, as you prep for your ICAI exams, looking at a dozen intersecting cost and revenue curves can feel, well, completely overwhelming. But hey, that's why I'm here. As your senior tutor, we're going to break this down step by step. By the end of this explainer, you'll be reading these graphs like an absolute pro.
Here is our game plan for today. Intro to market structures, unpacking perfect competition, short and long-run dynamics, understanding monopolies, and finishing up with monopoly equilibrium. Tension mat low, we are going to demystify these complex graphs together so you can secure those maximum exam marks.
Let's start with a real-world thought. Have you ever noticed how literally every potato seller in your local sabji mandi charges the exact same price? Think about the aloo ka bhav. If the market rate is 20 rupees a kilo, one seller can't just randomly decide, you know what, I'm doubling my price to 40 rupees today. No way, right? All the buyers would just walk to the very next cart. The seller is forced to accept the market price. And that very simple everyday reality, that's the entire foundation of our first market structure.
Okay, let's dive into Section 2, Unpacking Perfect Competition. So, a perfectly competitive market has some very strict rules. First off, there's a massive number of buyers and sellers, like so many that no single person can sway the market. Second, the products are homogeneous. A potato is a potato. They're completely identical. Third, we've got total free entry and exit for businesses. Fourth, everyone has perfect knowledge of prices. And finally, and this is the absolute most critical takeaway for your exams, individual firms under perfect competition have zero market power. None. They are strictly price takers, meaning they just have to accept whatever price is dictated by the overall industry's supply and demand.
Now, how does a firm decide exactly how much to produce to maximize its profits? I do but important. Pay very close attention right here, because these are the two ultimate IKI golden rules for equilibrium. Rule number 1, marginal revenue must equal marginal cost. MR equals MC. Rule number 2, the MC curve must cut the MR curve from below. Please literally memorize these right now. They are the anchor for absolutely every single graph we're going to look at today.
Let's look at the math using an example straight from the source text. Imagine Tasty Burgers, a small price-taking kiosk. If burgers sell for 14 rupees each, our average revenue and marginal revenue both equal 14. So to find the profit-maximizing output, we just scan our table to find where marginal cost also equals 14. And boom, there it is. At a quantity of exactly 40 burgers, our MR is 14 and our MC is 14. Setting MR equal to MC mathematically pinpoints your exact profit-maximizing sweet spot. Beautiful, right?
Moving into Section 3, the short and long run. Grab your mental highlighters for this.
Dhyan se suno, guide your eyes to this graph. Look at point E, right where the dotted MC curve cuts the solid horizontal MR curve from below. That is our golden rule in action. This gives us our output quantity, Q. Now trace that output line straight up. See how the horizontal price line sits entirely above that U-shaped average total cost or ATC curve? Because the price they're getting per unit is higher than the average cost to produce it, that shaded rectangle, that represents pure supernormal profit.
Now let's contrast that with our next scenario. Here, the equilibrium is still right at E, where MC equals MR. But notice the U-shaped ATC curve this time around. It just perfectly grazes the horizontal price line at point E. Price exactly equals average total cost. In this scenario, the firm is only just covering all its costs, which actually includes the implicit cost of the entrepreneur's time. This means the firm is earning normal profits, or what we call zero economic profits.
And of course, things can definitely go wrong. If the market price takes a dive, that horizontal price line drops. At our new equilibrium point E, the ATC curve is sitting way up high above the price line. The firm's costs are higher than its revenue, leading to that nasty shaded rectangle of losses. Now, here's the key exam tip. A firm might bleed money like this in the short run, but they'll keep the lights on and keep producing as long as the price is still high enough to cover their average variable costs. Keep that in mind.
Eventually, we hit the long run. This is an absolute favorite ICAI exam concept. Because there is free entry and exit in perfect competition, supernormal profits attract a bunch of new competitors, which drives prices down. If there are losses, firms exit, driving prices back up. In the long run, this constant dynamic forces everyone to the very bottom of the long-run average cost, or LAC, curve. At this magical equilibrium point, short-run marginal cost equals long-run marginal cost equals short-run average cost equals long-run average cost, which equals price. Everything aligns perfectly. It's perfectly balanced.
All right, Section 4, Understanding Monopoly Markets. Let's see how this builds into an entirely different world.
So here is a rapid-fire comparison for your notes. In perfect competition, you're a price taker with a perfectly horizontal demand curve. But monopoly literally means alone to sell. The single seller, the monopolist, actually has the power to set the prices. They are a price maker. Because they're the only option in town, the firm literally is the industry, which fundamentally changes the shape of the demand curve, so it slopes downward. If they want to sell more, they have to lower the price.
So how do monopolies even happen in the first place? Well, it's all about barriers to entry. Maybe a firm has strategic control over a super scarce resource, or maybe the government grants exclusive rights, or protects a product with heavy patents and copyrights. Or it could be a natural monopoly, where massive economies of scale make it way cheaper for just one firm to supply everything. Think about the enormous infrastructure needed for the Indian railways, or government control over nuclear power. Those are prime real-world examples right there.
Swalpa Gamnisi, pay really close attention to the slopes here. Because the monopolists must lower the price to sell additional units, their revenue curves look vastly different from perfect competition. The average revenue curve, which is our demand curve, slopes downward. But look at the marginal revenue curve. It also slopes downward, but it falls exactly twice as fast as the AR curve, perfectly cutting the horizontal space between the y-axis and the AR curve right in half.
And finally, Section 5, Monopoly Equilibrium and Profits. This is our grand finale for today.
We are going to visually prove how monopolies extract their profits using the exact same golden rules we learned at the very beginning of this masterclass. Let's act as an animator here. Follow my steps. Step 1, find where the dotted MC curve cuts the solid MR curve from below. That's point E. This gives us our equilibrium quantity, Q. Step 2, to find the price, draw a line straight up from E until you hit the AR or demand curve at point A. That gives us price P. Now check out the U-shaped ATC curve. The cost at quantity Q is point B. The distance between the high price at A and the lower cost at B is the profit per unit. Multiply that by the quantity, and you get that massive shaded box. That, my friends, is pure monopoly profit.
Concept samajh aaya? Now, let me throw a totally counterintuitive question your way just to shake up your assumptions. Can a mighty monopolist, the absolute sole ruler of an industry, ever actually incur losses? Well, the spoiler is right there on the screen. Yes, they absolutely can. Let's look at the visual proof.
Trace the graph with me one more time. We find our quantity Q at point E, where MC equals MR. We trace up to the AR curve to find our price at point B. But look at where the U-shaped average total cost curve is sitting this time around. It is sitting entirely above the AR curve. The cost at point A is much higher than the price they can get at point B. If market demand is just terrible and costs are high, even a pure monopoly will suffer short-run losses, represented by that shaded box.
But what happens to the monopoly in the long run? This is the ultimate privilege of being a monopolist for your exams. Because there's absolutely zero threat of new competition entering the market and driving down prices, they don't actually have to optimize. They can comfortably operate at a suboptimal scale. They don't ever have to reach the very bottom minimum point of the long-run average cost curve like those poor firms in perfect competition do. They simply adjust their plant size to whatever maximizes their long-run profits, and they just stay there.
So the crucial point is this. The source text tells us that true, flawless, perfect competition is largely a myth. And on the other extreme, pure monopolies are extremely rare because governments usually step in to regulate them. So, what do the markets around us actually look like? That provocative question is exactly where we're going to leave things today, teasing the real-world middle grounds of oligopoly and monopolistic competition that you'll encounter next. Keep reviewing these graphs, physically draw them out yourselves, and trust the golden rules. You are going to absolutely crush your ICI exams. Keep studying hard, CA Made Easy students. Catch you in the next one.